Hi everyone, welcome back to Hope and Coffee. I'm Hope, but today it's actually not coffee, it's tea, but it's about 5:30 in the evening and I ran out of decaf, so please forgive me, I apologize. It's just a lovely herbal mint, just something very relaxing for the evening. I've had a rough couple days. I did make an episode yesterday, but I'm not certain I will actually release that episode. I recorded that episode about my breakup that I actually had yesterday. It's raw and emotional, and again, I'm not sure I want to be a YouTube creator that kind of puts their tears and shares their tears on the platform for what seems to be sort of like monetization or views or streaming of that kind. So again, I'm not sure I'll put it out there, but this one is going to be of similar content. I just want to acknowledge that that one does exist. And this one is me talking about one of my biggest hurdles in overcoming something for me that's actually really important. And it's something that I have when it comes to relationships. And it is my anxious attachment style. Now, you can Google this, and it is something that's real. And it is something that I actually struggle with pretty frequently, and I don't think it's an uncommon thing. It's just something that over the period of time I've realized I've had. And truthfully, as I look back through therapy and through other sorts of like avenues of self introspection, I'm not 100% certain where this really stems from. And again, it's still something that I'm working through. It's not something that my 90-day sort of reboot or restart is something that is going to fix because I've already been struggling with it for years. But if you don't know what anxious attachment style is, it is a feeling of insecurity and abandonment, usually stemming from something in childhood, but it can make people feel unworthy or feel unloved and feel as though we need to sacrifice our personal needs in favor of our partners. Now, that is something that I've almost always done in every relationship that I have entered into. In order to feel valuable to my partner, I have felt as though I've needed to sacrifice or like give up whatever whatever my needs are in order to make sure they're happy. So I am happy to like cater to that person almost to make sure that person feels loved and welcomed and cared for. And even if when I don't feel it in return, even though I'm not asking for it outright, it's never balanced. And I acknowledge that that's not a good thing. It's a process of learning how to break it that I'm working on. So I guess it's not super fun to be called out like that for sure. Yeah, I know I have it. And it's something, like I said, that I'm working on. I'm working to create healthier boundaries. And again, if you trust WebMD, it's just a source that helps you, use it as a resource as much as you want to maybe use Wikipedia as a resource. It's a touch point. It's a place where you can start looking for answers. It's not the end all be all, so please don't use it in that. I am not an expert in any of this. I am still learning myself. And again, I am still a person who is trying to figure myself out in this process as well. But WebMD says there are approximately 4 different types of anxious attachment. And as I was reading them, I'm not going to read all 4 of them, but the one that I seem to most closely relate to, the one that I feel that I may kind of associate with, is the anxious ambivalent attachment. And I'm going to kind of quote it here, is the anxious ambivalent attachment style people are usually needy. They are anxious and have low self-esteem, which through the course of my life, I have. I feel like I am of value. I feel like I'm a catch. However, when it comes to a relationship, I almost always put my needs second to the needs of my partner in order for that person to hopefully value me more. And I know that's not the right way to do it. I just am working to overcome that. But to go back to this, they want to be close with others, but they're afraid that people don't want to be with them. Accurate. So it goes into a couple of references to what a child may feel as to where it may stem from that. But again, when I read that part, I don't really feel like I identify it with what I went through as a child, because it just doesn't resonate with me. And again, a lot of this, like, it's all up to you and how you kind of like interpret it in your life, and again, work with a therapist to see how it may work in your life. But for me, the next sentence, which again, I'm not going to read, doesn't seem to fit for my background. But that's just to say I don't blame my parents for it, because I don't think they were the cause of this. I have a hard time making and keeping friends. I always have, even from an early age. When I want to feel a value to people, I don't want them to leave me, but it always feels like they do. And so it happens in friendships and it happens in relationships. And I've never had a good, like, my marriage lasted for about 8 years, but again, I think it may have lasted longer than it should have, simply because I was comfortable in a situation that maybe should have ended a few years before. I think we had just gotten complacent and we were not growing as people. And again, I don't think that was either of our fault. I just think we both needed to step away from it in order to grow. But in relationships, I try to make myself small, so perhaps there will be a way I can stay in the corner of their lives, and if I'm lucky, they won't discard me. But I am needy. I often just need the reassurance and the validation that I'm important. And I shouldn't have to ask for that. And I know that's not a lot to ask, but it feels like when it comes down to most of my relationships, that's what I'm asking for at the end of the day. And that's where I struggle. But it's been a hard road, and at this point I'm pretty tired. I don't know if I'm going to make a ton more dating videos. I might. But this relationship has been pretty hard. And I think because it kind of came out of nowhere, and I really wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready for the relationship, and I wasn't ready for. Wasn't ready for the break either. But it's not, this anxious attachment style is not going to be fixed on my 90-day journey, and it's not going to be fixed so easily. But you know what? I'll still see you on the next page. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one.